I'm Chef Jasper, and today we're in the kitchen. We're not doing anything light. I wouldn't say it's really light. It's just an old Italian recipe, and maybe I've kind of lightened it up a little bit. This is the way we cook. It's a Tuscan kale and cannellini bean soup that I think you're going to absolutely love. It's easy to prepare. That's what's best about it. You can find all the ingredients at the store, of course, and it goes by pretty quickly. So let's get this stove on here. You know me, I'm starting on high fire, extra virgin olive oil or a little bit of corn oil. But the olive oil, you know, that's just good for you, and that's why I like to cook with it. Of course, we ought to start off with what I call a sofrito of onions. And we'll put the onions in there first because the onions, I don't want them to caramelize because this is more of a soupy dish, you know. But I do want this to give a lot of flavor. A lot of people just start your soups and put everything in all at once, you know. The carrots, the onions, the celery, and the broth. Here, I'm going to kind of cook things down. Next, our celery. And really, ingredients, these are simple. This is the old Tuscan way. We do the same thing in America. We cook the same way, of course, but this kale really makes a little bit of difference, I think, and it's good for you. That's what it's all about. And that's kind of why I decided to start working on this recipe, just to change maybe a few things around. Now, this, we're keeping vegetarian, but some ham hocks, oh yeah, you know, leftover ham. You know, Italian sausage. Sausage is really good in here. A little bit of andouille sausage, that's up to you. So let's give this a stir. Now, even though a sofrito should have the carrot in it right now, I'm not worried about that. I'll put that in because I want the carrot still to be, I don't know, maybe I'll say a little crunchy, so add the carrot when you want to. But of course, we have the cannellini beans. Now, I'm using the canned cannellini beans. They are fantastic. This is going to be pretty quick. And then my ingredients that I really want to emphasize, my more on the seasoning side. We have some red pepper. We have a little bit of oregano and a little bit of thyme. But right now, as you know, we don't want to add the garlic too early. But this sofrito, this is coming along really, really well at this point. We're going to add our garlic at this point. And again, you know, I don't like anybody smashing garlic, so just mince the garlic slices. It doesn't matter. I was recently in Italy, and I noticed in my soup some really, really thin slices of garlic. I like that. You've seen me do that before, but I never really do it in my soup. So that's up to you. But again, 90% of my cooking, I'm looking for flavor. And that's what I want. And I know when I put the garlic in too early, we're going to scorch it or we're going to burn it, and it gives off a different flavor. So we want that garlic flavor here, and I'm not going to mince it really, really fine. And I do have some slices in this, so I'm good with that. Look how quickly this is going, okay? We're just about 70% there with my celery and onion because this is giving our body, okay? This is the beginning. Like I always like to say, you know, here we are. We're doing this in layers. Of course, we're going to season just with a little salt and pepper, and that's it. Only because at this point, the salt is going to draw a little bit of that water out of here, out of those vegetables. And that's okay for this because I'm looking more for a body when I'm layering. So a little bit of the salt right now. Looks like a lot, but believe me, we're going to work with that. A little bit of cracked pepper, but not any of the herbs. Not yet. We don't want to mess with those herbs yet. Oh, I love this soup, especially, it reminds me of when I was a child and Nana used to prepare it, and then she'd finish it with a little bit of extra virgin olive oil poured on top, a little bit of grated cheese. I don't think it gets any better. Okay, I could just see this starting to brown a little bit. My carrots, and you could chop them, you could do whatever you want. Other vegetables, that's up to you. But I mean, I'm kind of using basics here. You notice carrots, onions, celery, my sofrito. But if you want something different in here, go ahead. Escarole is also good with this. Italians love their escarole. Broccolini, that's okay also. Give this a good stir. Just to coat the carrots at this point. All right. And then cannellini beans are cooked. But here's the thing. When to add the tomatoes. If you want the tomatoes to cook down more, add them now. You can also just use canned tomatoes and just do them with your hand like Mama used to do and put them in there. Or you can add the tomatoes about 10 to 15 minutes before you finish. I think I may add some right now and just give it a quick stir. We don't want to waste any of those, and just kind of let them just pop a little bit. Yeah, we're gonna let them pop a little bit. I like that. There we are. Now we're into our second layer by adding our cannellini beans. And you know, if you want your other beans, that's fine, but look at this, will you? And let this really start coming together. I'm telling you, you could do this whole soup in less than 10, 15 minutes. Now me, pepperoncini rosso. I like my red pepper. Use as much as you would like. A little bit of oregano, of course, and a little bit of thyme. Give that a good stir, of course, and then we will add our broth. Now, at this point, remember I said you want to add something extra. You know what? A little white wine does not hurt this at all. Yeah. This right here, this medley, is a great vegetable. Just like that. Put it on the side, cook some pork chops or chicken, and you serve this with it, but it needs to cook down a little bit more. So at this point, we're going to add just a little more salt. And then, of course, we'll taste it. Because remember, our broth is really ready here. I mean, it's got a little bit of salt in it already. So let's just reduce this down. We got about 6 cups of broth here. And as we're just stirring this, then we're going to add our kale. And like I said, not only with the kale, you may want to add escargot, but I never fry the kale. A lot of chefs will like to cook the kale ahead of time, but what happens, or any of the vegetable, like in that manner, in those greens, you kind of lose something with it, and they kind of shrivel up, and it's just, I don't know, it's not nothing I really care for. So we have all our broth in here. We have our seasoning. We're going to taste this, but at this point, I'll give it one last stir, and then we will add our parsley. And you can use more parsley for garnish if you like, but I think it's okay. And then our kale. Look at this. Are we like even 6 or 7 minutes into this? And just let that come to a nice boil. You can put a lid on it. You can watch this. And I'm telling you, it's easy. It's delicious. Let that cook down a little more. Add more seasoning if you want. We'll come back, and I'm telling you, we're going to enjoy a delicious soup with a couple different variations. One of my favorites, especially in the wintertime. Tuscan bean and kale soup. Just look at that, will you? A nice rapid boil. Just keep this going just like this. And then adjust for seasonings. Let's see what we need here. Let me see here. Maybe a little salt, but I'm going to go easy on the salt because I'm going to put a little bit of pecorino romano in this. A little bit of cracked pepper, not much. If you want a little red pepper, that's fine also. But I think we are ready. Along with some of that delicious farm-to-market bread, you have the perfect meal. And look at the kale. Now you see why I added the kale at the end. I don't want to add the kale at the beginning. I told you that. Just look at that. Is that something else? It's nice and steaming. This is just perfect. I'm very, very pleased with this soup. A little bit of that cheese right on top, along with that crispy bread. Look, just that bread is just perfect. Dip that bread in there. And then tomorrow, you have the leftover soup. Add chunks of bread in there, and you have a ribollita, which is an old Italian soup reboiled. And don't forget, you want a little sausage, you want something, a little ham in there, go ahead. But a beautiful Tuscan kale and bean soup, so delicious. Everyone's going to enjoy. I'm proud and honored to serve it to my family and friends. I hope you do also. Jasper's Kitchen is brought to you by Hen House Markets and Roth Living.